One of the most important things you can do as a parent is start saving for your child's future early. Whether it's college, private school, or vocational training, education costs money, and that money needs to grow. The question is, where do you put it? Most people get the same answer from their financial advisor, their accountant, their brother-in-law at Thanksgiving. Open a 529. And honestly, that's not bad advice. The 529 is the most well-known education savings accounts out there. Tax-free growth, high contribution limits, and available in every state. But there's another account almost nobody talks about. And if you know how to use it right, it could be the single best financial decision you make for your child's education future. Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Bergman, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. Today, we're breaking down the Coverdell ESA and comparing it to the 529 plan, what each one does, where each one wins, and the strategy I personally think gives your kids the best shot at a fully funded education. Let's start with the one you've heard of, a 529 plan. The big draws: no income limits. You can be a billionaire and still put money in for your kid. And the contribution limits are enormous. Generally, once you hit between $350,000 and $550,000, you're kind of capped out. And that's based off the state. You can dump it all in 1 year, or of course, you can do it over a bunch of years. You can contribute as much as you want each year, as long as you're mindful of the annual gift tax limit, which right now is $19,000 per year, before you need to file a gift return. There probably is not a tax on that gift because every American has a unified credit of around $15 million for their lifetime, or $30 million for two spouses. So as long as you're not giving gifts above that $15 million or $30 million in the aggregate over your lifetime, anything over the $19K is not going to be subject to gift tax. But you still have to file a gift return. The money grows tax-free in the 529, and as long as you use it for qualified education expenses, like tuition, books, room and board, you pull it out completely, 100% tax-free. K-12 is also covered, not just college. Now, what can you actually invest in? That's where the 529 shows its limits. There are preset plan portfolios. So you're basically buying mutual funds, ETFs, things like that. You can't even buy individual stocks. There's also no age deadline. The 529 doesn't have a clock. So if your kid doesn't use it, say they get a full scholarship, under the Secure Act 2.0, you can now roll unused 529 funds into a Roth IRA. The account needs to be open at least 15 years, and the lifetime rollover cap is just $35,000 though. But that's a massive improvement over the old rules, where a non-qualified withdrawal meant taxes plus a 10% penalty on the earnings. Bottom line on the 529, really high limits, no income restrictions. I personally do a 529 for my kids. It's a really easy program to do. It's the workhorse, the bread and butter. Why I love it is because the funds are growing tax-free. I'm taking advantage of compounded returns. And when I pull out to use it for my kids' education, tax-free. Now let's talk about the account almost nobody uses and why I think that's a major mistake. A Coverdell is an educational savings account. It's essentially a government-created account that is there to enhance one's ability to save for education. You put money in after tax, like a 529, it grows tax-free, and if you use it for qualified education expenses, you pull it out completely tax-free, like a 529, like an IRA, and then you can use it so long as it's for qualified education expenses. Actually, it's like a Roth IRA, kind of. Here's where it gets different from the 529. First, the contribution limits, just $2,000 per beneficiary. That's it. I know. You're already thinking, Adam, what am I going to do with $2,000 a year? Stick with me here. Second, there are income restrictions. If you earn too much money, for example, if you and your spouse earn more than $220,000 combined, you can't contribute anything to a Coverdell. You can still do a 529, but not a Coverdell. Single filer caps are at $110,000. Now, the account can still be open. Someone else can contribute to it, like a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, but you as a high earner won't be able to put money in yourself for that beneficiary. Third, and this is the one you really need to know, there's an age rule. When the person hits 30 years old, unfortunately, you can roll it into another family member's plan, or they're going to have to pay taxes with a 10% penalty on anything unused. What counts as a qualified expense? Well, it's pretty broad. Tuition, books, uniforms, tutoring, even transit. The Coverdell covers all of it. And for K to 12, it's actually more flexible than the 529. The issue with the Coverdell? Low annual contribution and income restrictions. So on the surface, the Coverdell looks like the 529's little sibling. Lower limits, income restrictions, and a hard deadline. But here is what changes everything. What if I told you the Coverdell can invest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, real estate, and private placements on top of equities and mutual funds and ETFs, all inside a tax-free account? Because it can. This is where IRA Financial comes in. A self-directed Coverdell follows the same prohibited transaction rules as a self-directed IRA, so as long as the investment isn't life insurance or collectibles or involving a disqualified person, you can do it. Now you're probably thinking, Adam, I can only put in $2,000 a year. What am I going to buy with that? It's a fair point. You're not going to be able to buy a huge piece of land or a commercial real estate building, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptos, that's one asset where you can get potential huge upside and not put much money in. And we have the data to back this up. Probably most of our Coverdell accounts have some exposure to crypto or gold. We've seen a lot of people using this kind of like a golden lottery ticket. So here's the strategy. With the 529, I'm going to put away a lot more money because of the high annual contribution limits, but I'm stuck with mutual funds and ETFs. In the Coverdell, I'm going to put away $2,000 a year for my kid, but I'm going to be able to put it in Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, and other digital assets. So if it drops, it's not that big of a deal, right? Because my Coverdell is so much smaller than my 529. But if there is a huge swing upwards, which has happened to me and my kid's account for Bitcoin, that could be an enormous advantage to my child. One thing I want to be clear about, if you're going the self-directed route with a Coverdell, you cannot go to Schwab or Vanguard. They won't let you buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or gold in a Coverdell. You need a self-directed IRA custodian, and that's exactly what we do at IRA Financial. So let me put this side by side to make it crystal clear. Coverdell versus 529. 1, annual limit. 529, no hard cap. You can go between $330K or $550K for the lifetime of the beneficiary based on the state. Coverdell, there's a $2,000 annual cap limit per beneficiary. Income limit. 529, no income limits. Coverdell, $110,000 if you're single, $220,000 if you're married, file jointly. Investment options. 529, you're basically restricted to mutual funds, ETFs, and some restricted portfolios. Coverdell's, no restrictions other than the prohibited transaction rules. So you can do alts. Age deadline. There's none with a 529. Coverdell, age 30. K to 12 eligible. 529, yes. Coverdell, also yes, but even broader. What happens if the funds are unused in the account? 529, you could roll to a Roth IRA, thanks to the Secure Act 2.0, but you're limited to $35K. For a Coverdell, you can roll to a family member's Coverdell. Self-directed option. 529, no, you're restricted to essentially mutual funds and ETFs. Coverdell, yes, you can do alts, but you need a special self-directed custodian like IRA Financial. So overall, the 529 wins on size and simplicity, but Coverdell wins on investment freedom and opportunity. So which education plan do I recommend? Well, both. The 529 is your foundation. That's where the bulk of the money goes. High limits, no income restrictions, simple to set up anywhere. Use it for the heavy lifting. The Coverdell, in my estimation, that is your lottery ticket. You put the $2,000 in so long as you meet the income restrictions for a beneficiary, and then you can invest it in Bitcoin or other digital assets, even gold. If it drops, well, it's not that big of a deal because the amounts are small. But if there's a huge swing upwards, well, that could really be a huge advantage to your child. That's the juice. That's the alpha. Think about it. You've got $350,000 or $400,000 growing steadily in the 529. That's your guarantee. The Coverdell is the home run opportunity. If the crypto, for example, does what crypto has done historically over a long-term horizon, that small account could actually turn into something extraordinary. Of course, tax-free. And the downside, you put in the $2,000, it's not going to derail your kid's education fund. If you're interested in setting up a self-directed Coverdell, or want to walk through which strategy makes sense for your situation, please reach out to us at IRA Financial. We'll walk you through every step. Want to learn more about alternative investing? Check out this video to see the possibilities and how you can expand your retirement portfolio tax-free. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.